Hey, Jason Rice here from Lot Pop. This is the Lot Party Show, and as you know, every week, if you watch, the Lot Party Show is about no different than on your showroom floor. You call Lot Party to get all the salespeople, all the porters, everybody together to go move around that physical lot to get more traffic, to get more things stirred up, get things excited on your lot. So what we do on this show is we do some interviews with vendors and some dealers, and I'm going to go over some tips myself to try to help you stir up your inventory, stir things up on your lot, both on the internet end, both on the inventory management end, to help you sell more cars, drive more traffic. One of the things that we try to do feature on this show, I forgot to do it last week, but we do a featured dealer of the week. Right up there you can see Moberly Motors, saying hello to my friend Nick Miller there, who runs operations. He's a good store, small market, but man, they do great numbers for what they have on their lot. And if you're interested in being the dealer of the week, just send us one of your dealer plates. So we'll feature up there, maybe even set up a time to do an interview. Matter of fact, you can see on the old Lot Party shows I interviewed Nick and the benefits of being that small town dealer, and maybe even some of those struggles. So check that episode out. It's on the previous episodes here. But what I want to do today is I want to go over, I've been reading this book, it's called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, and basically about growing your business. And one of the things that I just read about last night when they're talking about is the vital signs, and they talk hypothetically about, whenever you get injured, maybe it's a car accident or what have you, if you got a bone sticking out of you or you got a gash on your face, they don't attack those areas necessarily at first. What they look at is your vital signs, your blood pressure and so forth, to see, because they could fix that bone, but if other things are going wrong internally and those vital signs, fixing that bone isn't gonna totally heal you. So then they talk about the points of your vital signs within your own company. So in this show, I wanted to go over on inventory management for these managers are out there. Now, even if you're a salesperson, this stuff is crucial because, again, your pay plan, your gross profit on cars, a lot of it's going to be wrapped up of how that inventory is ran, both new and used. But one of the things I wanted to go over is the vital signs, mostly on what's going on with our used cars. So if you're a salesperson and or a manager and you're not making enough gross on your inventory, a lot of it's not because of how you price and so forth. Majority of it has how you market it. And I'm really big, a lot of things that you see on mine, and I might be repetitive of what I go over with today, but it's so important because your inventory is your vital signs for your whole dealership. You can run a great F&I back end, you can run a great service department, but again, if you're not selling cars day in and day out, you're not going to get repeat customers and get those people in your lane and get the F&I opportunities. So I talk a lot about inventory management to drive internet leads to then go in our internet process and follow up. I talk about inventory to sell more cars to drive more F&I, and then sell more cars to drive more service and so forth. So it's our profit center, and so I want to go over the three vital signs that you want to look at in your inventory before you attack anything else. I think these are the three crucial ones. And before I dip into that, I want you to make sure, there's what I'm going to show you here. These are going to be branches that will go out to, once you manage this vital sign, it's going to go deeper into those other things and force other things to improve. So these aren't the only three things, but to me these three things drive a trickle down effect to make you more profitable, manageable on that inventory, or stay on top of it more, if that makes sense. So let's dig into a few things. I'm actually going to take my eyes off the screen sometimes. I'm going to go over some graphs here that I want you to be able to see. Now, we pull out data for dealers and we consult them on a weekly basis. So some of this graphs, you're going to see this, but I'm not here to sell or promote our stuff. You can do these same things yourself. So that's what I want to go over with you, is do these things internally within your inventory. Track these items. You can do these yourself, and you kind of get a sense or a screenshot of what you want to try to accomplish with this. But as I traveled for over a decade to help dealers with their used car inventory management, a lot of these stores I went into blind, meaning I didn't know much about them. They weren't my accounts. They're the performance manager's accounts, but I was going in there to help them try to see what was going on. And I usually went into troubled accounts. So when I went into a troubled account that was telling me that they're not selling enough cars and making enough gross, one of the first places I went to get a feel or a pulse of that inventory was looking at where they sold the percentages of their inventory. Now keep in mind, everything that I talk about with inventory management is with a perspective of a 60-day age policy. So I went into and see what cars were they selling fresh. Fresh to me would be how many cars were you selling 0 to 30 days old. And then I wanted to see how many they were selling 60 plus. Okay, so 0 to 30 and then 60 plus. And then middle bucket, when I reference middle bucket, is cars that are 30 to 60 days old. So one of the things we do is we pull this data out for the dealers on a weekly basis. Again, this is something you can do out of your, hopefully you got an inventory management tool. You know, vAuto has this ability. I know other systems do. Where, and I'm going to take my eyes off screen because I'm going to show you this graph. Hopefully we get this graph up here beside my head here. And green on the graphs are going to be good. That's fresh. Yellow is middle bucket yield, and red is going to be age. And so with this dealer, we can see here back in April 1st, you can see where we're pushing out only 38% of our sales were going out in the first 30 days, and then a high percentage, 41%, were going out 61 plus. We all know intuitively that we're going to make the most gross profit on our fresh inventory, right, within the first 30 days. So if you can increase the amount of fresh inventory you sell and decrease the amount of aged inventory you sell, your gross is going to go up. So it's important to track that. So each week we look at a rolling 2-week window and say, how many did you sell? Let me look at the last 2 weeks every week and give us a percentage of where this inventory. So our goal is to help him drive down the amount of aged inventory he was selling. As you can see, we really hit the tipping point here in the last couple of weeks. Increase the amount of fresh and decrease the amount of age. As of today, or the last couple of weeks, you can see where he's pushing out, even worst case scenario, 77% of his sales went out fresh and only 5% went out aged. I would tell you the best performing stores will do 60-70% plus 0 to 30. You want your minimum that you're doing is 50% consistently. If you can at least stay in the 50s, you're doing okay as far as fresh stuff. Aged stuff, you want it 5% or less. Worst case scenario, 10% or less. But if you want a good velocity where you get the holy grail of gross and volume, you want to do 60-70% 0 to 30. 5% less 60 plus, and you can see week after week. You got to, in order to improve, you need to track. So one of the first vital sign, you can put it up here, is what percentage did you sell, okay, by age buckets. Second vital sign, I'm going to again take my eyes off, and we're going to be able to hopefully see this screen here, is where your current inventory sits, okay. So you want to make sure that, let me go actually roll back here. You can start seeing the charts here. Where is my current inventory sitting? It's in 0 to 30s fresh, middle bucket is 31 to 60, 61 plus. Now, you could see here, back in May of 24, he had 33% sitting in his middle bucket. And I'm going to tell you, anytime that middle bucket gets over 25%, again, assuming you're fresh, let's assume your inventory's fresh and you're starting to sell at a decent rate. If that inventory level gets above 25%, you're going to see a bleed-through problem weeks later, okay? 25, you can see here, he went from 15% to 33%, and it built up all the way on June 28th, a month later. 42% of his inventory was sitting in this middle bucket and less fresh inventory. I can't sell 70% fresh when I only have 48% sitting there. So as this middle bucket built up to 42%, look at that red line, the 60 plus. Weeks later, we got an age problem. So what do we got to do? We got to work out of those. And again, that's where my sale rate looks at. I got to be selling enough fresh and enough middle buckets to stop that bleed through. And once you can drive that fresh rate sale rate up, that's where this starts tipping on you. And you can see he really hasn't had, each week when we pulled the inventory from August 9th on, it shows that he has no cars 60 plus. But remember, he sold 5% 60 plus. The reason why a car would go from 49 or 60 days old, and so when I pulled the data today, or when you pull your data today, you might not have no cars 60 plus, but tomorrow maybe a car hits it and then you sold a 60 plus car. But next week when you look at it again, you might not have any 60 plus. So keep that in mind. But so when it comes to second vital sign, percentage of inventory, current inventory buckets, and again we'll put it up here, second vital sign is inventory buckets, keep that middle bucket 30 to 60 below 25%. If you are currently in an age issue, you need to have that in the teens. If you have an age problem right now, that middle bucket needs to be no higher than 15% to drive down and cut the bleeding off, and then you start chipping away at that aged inventory, okay? And the third vital sign is a twofold. Know your SRP and VDP per car every week. Track it, look at it daily, track it weekly. Monitor it daily, see what's going on, but put a hard number on it every week. Again, we deal a lot of dealers, and that's in Viato, and Viato gives you a projected SRP and VDP, and I could divide their inventory per car. So I could say 100,000 SRPs divided by the 100 cars in stock. You can see we got 10,000 SRPs per car, whatever that number. So you could pull this out of your Auto Trader, Cars.com, Viato, or some other system, but know how many per car, okay? Because if it's not on a per car basis, you can have an increase in SRPs because you have more cars. Not really, you didn't increase it because you did a better job, you just got more cars. Or you can have an increase in SRPs if there's more shoppers and things like that. So know where your SRPs and VDPs per car, again, I'm going to look at the screen here, where they went from, let's just say Auto Trader, 1,282 SRPs per car to 1,900 SRPs per car. But look at Cars.com. So that's an increase. So I'm good. I'm safe. I'm increasing every week. But look at Cars.com. 2 weeks ago went from 2,500 SRPs per car. Now he's down to 2,100 SRPs per car. We need to know why. Why did that happen? Again, this is that trickle effect that happens. Is why did this happen? Is there less shoppers on Auto Trader or Cars.com? So you need to trickle down effect, start tracking how many shoppers are in the market week after week. Maybe I got less cars because there's less shoppers. Maybe the inventory levels increased on Cars.com. Maybe when a shopper went in a 100-mile radius of your store, a couple weeks ago there's only 10,000 cars to look at, and now there's 1,200 cars from to look at, or 12,000 cars from to look at. So maybe you're getting diluted in the market, or maybe there's more, if you're a Ford store, maybe there's more Fords listed on Cars.com right now. There's little things like that you can track, but at least know that you dropped off and try to figure out why. Maybe you have less cars. Maybe there's a feed issue, so less cars are there, or the photos problem, that type of thing. Then, again, twofold, you need to know VDPs per car. And again, I'm going to take away my eyes off the screen here, but they went from 25 and 28 VDPs per car, got it all the way up to 37 VDPs per car, but lately it dropped off here. And again, on a per car basis, there's only a few things that can drive that. It's my price, my photos, and my descriptions. What caused that to happen? Did I have a delay in photos? We'll start tracking what percentage of cars are missing photos. Is it my descriptions? Is it my pricing? So when's the last time I changed prices on cars, and digging into that? But these are the three, your vital signs. First one, know where you're pushing out your inventory by percentage of buckets. How much fresh, how much age? Again, 60-70% would be the goal, to sell that, and less than 5% age. But then I got to look at my current inventory. I can't sell 70% of my cars out of my current inventory 0 to 30 if I only have 35% there and 40% stuck in age cars. Guess where all my sales are going? So when you go attack those aged cars, guess what's happening to your gross? So again, that's why I went into these numbers when I went into a store blindly, is they're telling me they're not selling enough cars and making enough gross. It's because of these cycles, okay, where they're pushing the cars out, and then where's the current inventory sitting, and we got to stop the bleeding. Remember, get that middle bucket below 25%, and if you're when you're clean, but when it's aged, you got to be down in the teens to stop that bleeding of cars going 60 plus, and then start chipping away at those aged cars. Start selling them fresh, offset what you're doing age, and then eventually you're cleaned up. And then know your SRPs and VDPs. That's your internet activity. Know how many SRPs and VDPs you're getting online, because if you're not driving those, 100% of these shoppers, 90 plus, we all know the stats, are shopping online. And if I'm not getting that exposure, SRP, VDPs per car, I need to start addressing those issues. Is it photos? Is it price? Is it descriptions? Do I have the wrong cars? Is there more shoppers? Is there more inventory for them to look at? All this stuff can affect these. And again, if you just know where you're at, try to improve them, figure out where you're missing it, and then attack it. I hope this show was helpful. Again, sorry I didn't do an interview, but I think inventory management is one of the most important things. Hopefully these charts give you an idea. Again, if you need some help of setting something like this so you can pull your own data, give me a call, 844-LOTPOP4. Visit our website and get a free valuation and get some insight. But just get a hold of me. Check me out at Twitter at LotPop Auto or LotParty Auto on Twitter, and Facebook, JSEN Jason Rice or LotPop. So hopefully it's helpful. Check you next week and check out these guys live, Auto Dealer Live. Talk to you later.